Hey guys, I'm back again with a brand new video for you all, and this time we'll be talking about the top 10 cores that we can use for the Great League Remix, as we're gonna have league rotations from tomorrow and we're gonna have Great League Remix. So we'll be talking about the best cores that we can use in Great League Remix in this video. Before that, I'll be telling you which is gonna be the best Pokemon in this Great League Remix meta and which is gonna be the best core breaker in this meta. And by core breaker, I mean the Pokemon which is gonna core break a lot of teams in this meta. In my opinion, Quagsire is going to be the best Pokemon in this meta, as Quagsire can beat a lot of things. There are going to be Registeels, there are going to be Carbings, it can beat both. And it can also threaten even the flyers like Mandibuzz and Mantine with that Stone Edge. And also can win against Gligar. If you have Aqua Tail, you have the upper hand against Gligar. And you can also win against a lot of the steals. There's going to be a Registeel. I've already said Registeel, right? It's going to be Steelix. There are going to be Steelix. So Quagsire is going to be deadly in this meta. And another Pokemon which is going to be the best core breaker in my opinion is going to be Galvantula, because there are going to be a lot of Mantines and Mandibuzz, and there are going to be even Walreins, and there are going to be Gallades and Polyrats, and yeah, Galvantula can beat a lot of them. And Galvantula also can be good against Registeel. Like Registeel's got Zap Cannon and Focus Blast. Both doesn't do that great against Galvantula. So Galvantula can be the core breaker in this meta, though it's gonna be weak against those Carbings and stuffs. And those two Pokemons were my favorite picks for this meta. Now without any further ado, let's start the video. Core number 1 is going to be Quagsire and Poliwrath, a very strong core. Now you can see both are going to be water Pokemon, so Grassy is definitely going to be the core breaker. That is why I put Serperior as the core breaker for this core. And Gligar also can be the core breaker, as Gligar can beat Poliwrath and can also beat Quagsire, but it depends on a lot of situations. And if Quagsire has Aqua Tail, it has slight more advantage, but yeah, Gligar can be called as the core breaker of this core. That is why I put Abomasnow and Mandibuzz as the best partner of this core, because both of them can beat both of them. Like Abomasnow and Mandibuzz can beat Serperior and Gligar both. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting and strong core. And I've also put this as number 1 because there's nothing really hard to understand. It's easy to understand and simple to run core, so you can try this team. And moving on to core number 2, it's going to be Jellicent and Steelix. Now looking at this core, pretty solid core. If you look at Jellicent, it's going to be weak against Galvantulas and Electrics, and yeah, Steelix can handle those. Gallade, Feraligatr and Mandibuzz is definitely going to be the core breaker, because Mandibuzz can beat Jellicent at its Dark versus Ghost, and Mandibuzz against Steelix is going to be Mandibuzz victory, because Mandibuzz can throw all the neutral moves, and the only neutral thing from Steelix is going to be its fast moves, that is going to be Dragon Tail, and the charge moves like Crunch, Earthquake and Psychic Fangs are not going to do anything against Mandibuzz. Now if you run Thunder Fang in as a fast move in your Steelix, then it's going to be a different story. But yeah, we can keep Mandibuzz, Feraligatr and Gallade as the core breaker of this core. And that is why I put best partner for this core, that is Jellicent and Pidgeot. Now not Jellicent, sorry, Galvantula. Galvantula can beat all 3 of its core breakers. If you look at it, Galvantula versus Gallade. Now what is Gallade gonna throw at Galvantula, right? Leaf Blade and Close Combat are like resisted against Galvantula, and Pidgeot can also beat Feraligatr because the fast move is going to be resisted, though the charge move is going to do a lot of damage. And yeah, Galvantula also can beat Feraligatr and both Mandibuzz. So this is very unique core, I should say unique core, and you can definitely run this core. Moving on to another core number 3 is going to be Mantine and Gligar. Now my all-time favorite core, and I use this even in Open Great League. Now in Great League Remix, it's gonna be like they're not gonna share the same weakness, even though they are gonna be flying. Both are gonna be flying, And the core breakers, there are no real like core breakers. Like for example, Galvantula is gonna be strong against Mantine, but not against Gligar. And ice Pokemons are gonna be strong against Gligar, like Walrein, but not strong against Mantine. So they don't share the common weakness. But the core breakers can be Jellicent and Empoleon. Like Empoleon loses against Gligar in 2 shields but wins in 1 shield, and Jellicent loses against Mantine in 2 shields but wins in 1 shield against Mantine. So they can be the core breaker, and that is why I kept Serperior as the best partner, because both are going to be water type Pokemon. Serperior can beat the core breaker of this core, but you're gonna have to watch out from that for that Drill Peck from Empoleon. And Manibuzz, yeah, Manibuzz has a clear shot against Jellicent. The only neutral thing Jellicent is going to throw is going to be Surf, and Manibuzz can tank multiple of those. And Manibuzz against Empoleon is going to be neutral. So yeah, this is a very strong core. You guys can run it. Both has ABA and ABB. Like if you use like for example, if you use Mandibuzz in this core, it's gonna be triple flyers, right? Now Mandibuzz and Gligar both gonna be weak against ice, like Walrein. Gligar is gonna be double weak, Mandibuzz is gonna be weak, and Mantine is not gonna be weak. So Mantine, you can run Mantine in the lead and then bait out the Walreins, and there are gonna be Walreins and Auroras in this Great League Remix. And like if you run Mandibuzz, then it's gonna be triple flyers, and it's still gonna be double weak against electric, right? Mantine and Mandibuzz is gonna be both gonna be weak against electric. So it's gonna be ABA against electric, but ABB against flyer. So that's how it's gonna go. But every core's got its weakness. Every core's got its core breakers, right? You're gonna run. And I guess 2 seasons, I don't know, one season, like 2 seasons back, I think I ran this same core and reached to legend. Yeah, previous season I used, I think, Alone Sandslash. I don't think so. I used, yeah, Annihilate core to win, to hit to legend. I mean legend previous season. I call legend to legend. I'm sorry. I think two seasons back I used this core for to hit legend, and there were a lot of Magnezons, a lot of those things. So yeah, this is going to be very strong core. You guys can run this core. Now moving on to another core. Now core number 4 is going to be Poliwrath and Carbink. Now you should see a lot of core breakers in this core. 4 already in the screen, but there are a lot of best partners for this core as well. Now I put Gallade as the core breaker because Gallade can do good against Poliwrath and can do good against Carbink as well. It has that Leaf Blade, and Jellicent can do good against both as well. And yeah, Gligar can win both of them. And Serperior, one is rock type and one is going to be water type, so Serperior has a very good matchup against both of the Pokemon from this core. So the best partner is going to be Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz can win all 4 Pokemon, all 4 of the core breakers of this core. And Abomasnow can win Gligar, Serperior, and Jellicent. And yeah, Gallade needs to land the close combat against Abomasnow in order to win that matchup. And Gligar, yeah, Gligar can you can run Gligar as well in this team. Gligar has a very good chance against Gallade and Serperior, and Gligar versus Gligar is going to be mirror, but it's going to be difficult against Jellicent if you use Gligar in this core. And you can also run Galvantula. Yeah, Galvantula also has a very good shot against 3 of the core breakers, not Gligar, and this is going to be another interesting core. Moving on to core number 5, it's going to be Pidgeot and Quagsire. One is Mudboy and one is Flyer, and it's going to be Ice, the core breaker, Walrein, and also Mantine. Like if Mantine has the Ice Beam, it has upper hand against Pidgeot. Even if it doesn't have Ice Beam, it does pretty fine against Pidgeot. And yeah, Quagsire, Mantine does pretty good, but can be threatened by Stone Edge. And yeah, Walrein does good against Pidgeot and both Quagsire. Quagsire needs to land the Stone Edge in order to win that matchup. And I kept again Galvantula as the partner for this team. It can beat both the core breakers, and you can also run Swampert, like Pidgeot and Double Mudboy. That is why I kept it as the best partner for this core. Pidgeot and Double Mudboy is also going to be very strong, and yeah, you can always like do ABB style in any cup you play, right? And Walrein is still going to be the core breaker, and is still not going to do that good against Swampert and Quagsire. Well, it is good, but not that good against those. You can play that out. And if you are having trouble with Walrein, then you can use a Poliwrath as well. Yeah, this is going to be another really interesting and fun core, and strong as well. Moving on to another core, it's going to be core number 6, Registeel and Mantine. Now, talking about the core breaker of this core, like there are not many core breakers. Like, all right, it is weak to electricity, right? There is Mantine, definitely weak against electricity, but Registeel versus like electric Pokemons, it's not like good for electric Pokemons. Like a lot of the electric Pokemons are going to be Magnezons, Togedemaru's. They're also going to be Steel. So we got Focus Blast, right? But still, Wild Charge from that Shadow Magnezone is going to do massive amount of damage. That can also be called the core breaker. And I have kept Galvantula as the core breaker here because it is Bug for that Focus Blast from Registeel and Electric for that Zap Cannon from Registeel. So yeah, it also beats Mantine, the Galvantula. That is why it can be the core breaker. And Registeel also can be, Registeel itself can be the core breaker for this team. And Quagsire, yeah, Quagsire, the reason I kept Quagsire is like it's got Stone Edge, and if they do some shield plays and if they succeed to bait you, then Stone Edge is gonna do massive amount of damage, especially that Shadow Quagsire. And it's not that great for Mantine, even if it's against a Mudboy like Quagsire. It's not like against Whiscash, right? Against Whiscash, Mantine has a clear upper hand, but Quagsire can beat Mantine. Now it's really tricky, and yeah, the best partners can be Carbink. Then Carbink can win Galvantula. If you're having trouble with Galvantula, then you can use Carbink. You can also use Poliwrath. Poliwrath can do good against Registeel and Quagsire. Now, if you use Poliwrath, then you're gonna have trouble against Galvantula. Then you should use like Registeel in the lead, and Poliwrath and Mantine at the back. Registeel double water is going to be, and so 2 shields, Galvantula might be able to win against Registeel in the lead. Then you have Poliwrath and Mantine at the back. Registeel is gonna be in its deep red, so you can come and farm. That's going to be the teamwork against Galvantula if you don't use Carbink and go for Poliwrath in this core. And if you go for Quagsire in this core, now Quagsire does good against Registeel, Registeel, one of its core breaker, and another core breaker is going to be Mirror, and another is going to be Galvantula. Now Galvantula against Quagsire, if it's in the lead, then it's neutral. I call it neutral, right? It's going to be about that landing that Stone Edge. And they're always trying to, like, they will always try to lunge you. And another partner you can use is Pelipper, Registeel, and double Flyer Water. Yeah, I have used this in past, and it gave me some good results. Not that great results, but it gave me good results. And moving on to another core, it's going to be core number 7, Mandibles and Empoleon. Now, if you talk about Empoleon and Mandibuzz, they handle each other's weakness pretty well, but they've got core breakers. Now, let's talk about the teamwork. Empoleon is going to be weak against Gligar, but it can win by landing a Hydro Cannon, and Gligar can win by landing the Dig. So, against the Mudboys, Empoleon is also going to be weak against the Mudboys. Mandibuzz can handle the Mudboys. If you take example of Quagsire, it's still going to need multiple moves or multiple Stone Edge against Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is so bulky. Mandibuzz is going to win that matchup. The core breakers are going to be Galvantula and Registeel again. Galvantula is going to be core breaker for a lot of teams. And Poliwrath as well. I've kept Poliwrath because in 2 shields with those IC wins, Poliwrath can win against Mandibuzz in both shield scenarios. And yeah, Registeel being the steel has the upper hand against Mandibuzz the flyer, and Registeel can also beat Empoleon. Now I've kept Shadow Empoleon there because normal Empoleon loses in 2 shield scenario against Registeel, whereas Shadow Empoleon wins against Registeel in 2 shield scenarios, and every other shield scenario Registeel is going to win. So that is why it's in the core breaker slot there for this core. And Galvantula, again, yeah, so one is water, one is flyer, it's obviously going to be the core breaker. That is why I kept Carbink and Gligar there. Now if you put Gligar, it can have great coverage for all the core breakers against Poliwrath, against Registeel, against Galvantula. So moving on to another core here, it's gonna be Mandibuzz again and Gallade, the Shadow Gallade. So we're putting Shadow Gallade because we'll be using Shadow Gallade as the finisher for the most of the time. So we're gonna need that hard hitter advantage there, being the Shadow. And Mantine, again Galvantula, core breaker. I'm building cores that's gonna be weak against Galvantulas, but not all of them. So Mantine has the upper hand against both of them, and Galvantula can beat both of them. And there we go. Best partner for this core is going to be Carbink. So Carbink can beat both its core breaker, right? Both its weakness, Carbink can beat those, and Registeel as well. So yeah, this is going to be another very interesting core here. I'm definitely gonna try this core. So another core, it's going to be Unova, Stunfisk, and Gligar. And this time Galvantula is not going to be the core breaker. Alright, so core breaker is going to be Swampert and Walrein. Both are going to be ground, so Walrein is definitely going to be strong against both, and Swampert can win both of them. So that is why I kept Mantine and Poliwrath there. Poliwrath and Mantine can have a good matchup against both the core breakers of this core. So yeah, and also Unova Stunfisk can be core breaker for a lot of teams, like a lot of Pokemons as well, like Registeel, right? Registeel, and let's talk about even Poliwrath. It's also electric, right? Even Mantine, it's gonna be good against Mantine as well, and it's gonna be good against those Mandibuzz as well. A lot of things. This is going to be very good core. And moving on to another one, it's going to be core number 10, Poliwrath and Gallade. Now this is going to be double fighter. You can do both. You can run this core as both ABA and ABB. Like if you're running double fighter, and it's going to have core breakers like Mantine, Galvantula, Mandibuzz, and Gligar. All 4 can beat these 2 Pokemons in this core. So the best partner for this would be Galvantula. Galvantula can beat Mantine and Mandibuzz. And Galvantula versus Galvantula is going to be mirror, and against Gligar it's going to be a little tough. So you can use Quagsire as well. Quagsire can do good against, not good, but it can fight. Like against Mandibuzz, you're going to have to land Stone Edge, and you're going to have to land another Stone Edge, and you're going to do some teamwork. Like Poliwrath against Mandibuzz is not that bad for Poliwrath. And Mantine versus Quagsire, now I'm talking about Stone Edge landing there, right? So it's not that great for Mantine. And yeah, if you got Aqua Tail in your Quagsire, then you're gonna do fine against Gligar. And yeah, that's how this core is gonna work. Double fighter. Like if you run this in ABA style, then Poliwrath is gonna be your lead for every time. And even if you find bad matchup against your fighter, you're gonna stay and do some icy wins and chips and soft lose that matchup, and then come in with your other Pokemon. That's how ABA is gonna work. And if you're gonna do ABB, then you're gonna run Galvantula, for example, Galvantula in the lead and double fighters at the back. Then safe swap your Gallade or Poliwrath, then bait out the fighter counter, and that's how you're gonna play it. It's gonna be ABB. And those were the teams, guys. Those were the cores. You can use any of them. And yeah, let me know in the comments which team are you gonna use, which core are you gonna use for the Great League Remix. Great League Remix is going to be interesting. And yeah, stay tuned for another video. And if you like the content, then please leave a like and comment. And thank you so much, guys.